She took the artifact along with her on her way to work. She stopped by the way and threw the artifact into the Atlantic. Ada was stunned to see the artifact back in its original place. Her heart raced as she realized that the curse was far more powerful than she had imagined. She knew she had to act quickly, but she was also terrified of what might happen next. In the heart of Lagos, on a quiet street lined with ancient trees, stood a massive house. This house was enveloped in mystery, and the locals told the story in hushed tones. Children dared each other to approach it, but none ever got too close. The house was said to be haunted, and the stories about it were enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. According to the story, years ago, a man named Chike lived in that house with his wife Amara and their young daughter. Chike had found an ancient artifact buried in the garden, and enchanted by its beauty, he decided to keep it as a decor piece in their living room. The artifact was a small figurine which was intricately carved from wood. But the artifact seemed to have a malevolent influence, and strange things began to happen in the house. Amara's husband grew increasingly paranoid and distant, and their daughter fell ill with a mysterious ailment. Desperate to save her family, Amara tried to destroy the artifact, but she couldn't. When their daughter died, Amara took her own life too, and Chike was left alone, consumed by grief and guilt. Chike was devastated, but he continued to live in the house, surrounded by memories of his loss and family. Friends, family and neighbors began to distance themselves from him, whispering that his story about the deaths didn't add up. They believed there was more to the tale than Chike was letting on. Years later, a young journalist named Ada decided to uncover the truth about the house on 21st Street. She had heard the tales of ghostly apparitions and eerie sounds, but she was determined to find out what really lay behind the spooky facade. She arranged an interview with Chike, hoping to get his side of the story. When Ada arrived at the house, she was awestruck by Chike. Despite his sorrowful past, he had a certain charm and a mysterious aura that drew her in. As they talked, Ada found herself falling head over heels in love with him. Chike too seemed to be taken with Ada, and they spent hours talking about his life, the artifact, and the tragic loss of his family. Ada and Chike started dating, despite the warnings from Ada's friend and colleague. 6 months later, Ada moved in with Chike, but it was to be the worst mistake she ever made. Ada settled into her new life with Chike. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The house, with its creaking floors and whispering walls, seemed to come alive at night. Shadows danced in the corners of her vision, and the air grew colder with each passing day. Chike's behavior also became more erratic. He would disappear for hours, sometimes days, without explanation, leaving Ada alone in the eerie house. One night, Ada decided to investigate the artifact that Chike had found in the garden. She had always been curious about it, but Chike had been adamant about leaving it alone. As she approached the artifact, she felt a chill run down her spine. The object seemed to pulse with a dark energy, and she could hear faint whispers coming from it. Determined to uncover the truth, she began to research the artifact's origins. She discovered that it was an ancient relic rumored to be cursed. It was said to bring misfortune and death to anyone who possessed it. The more she learned, the more she realized that the artifact was the source of the house haunting and Chike's torment. Ada told Chike about her findings, but he dismissed her concerns, insisting that the artifact was harmless. Frustrated and scared, Ada decided to take matters into her own hands. Without Chike's knowledge, She took the artifact along with her on her way to work. She stopped by the way and threw the artifact into the Atlantic. When Chike discovered that the artifact was gone, he was initially furious and felt betrayed by Ada. He couldn't believe she had taken such drastic actions without consulting him. His anger, however, quickly turned to fear as he realized the potential consequences of losing the artifact. Chike began to worry about the curse and the possibility of it affecting them even more now that it was in the ocean. Ada was stunned to see the artifact back in its original place. Her heart raced as she realized that the curse was far more powerful than she had imagined. She knew she had to act quickly, but she was also terrified of what might happen next. When Chike returned home and saw the artifact, he was equally shocked. The tension between them grew as they both grappled with the fear and uncertainty of their situation. Chike and Ada's relationship was strained by Ada's act. Once more, Chike became reclusive and started to act strange. He spent long hours locked in his study. Ada, feeling the weight of her actions, tried to reach out to him, but her attempts were met with cold silence. One evening, Ada noticed a peculiar change in Chike's behavior. He began to speak in cryptic phrases and often seemed lost in thought, as if he were communicating with someone unseen. His eyes, once warm and inviting, now held a distant, almost haunted look. One night, Ada was home alone. She looked at the old clock on the wall. Realizing how late it was, she laid down to sleep. Soon, she heard faint sounds coming from the garden. She stood up, went to the window, and stared into the darkness. Suddenly, she saw a figure move. Gripped by fear, she reached out for her phone, only to discover she had left it in the sitting room. She hurried out the door, down the stairs, but bumped into Chike, who was coming up the stairs. Relieved, she asked what he was doing in the garden that late, but Chike said he hadn't been at the garden. Ada's heart pounded as she clutched Chike's arms, her eyes wide with fear. "Chike, I saw someone in the garden. I heard noises and I saw a figure moving." Chike's expression turned serious. "Stay here, I'll go check it out." "No, I'm coming with you," Ada insisted. "I don't want to be alone." Chike nodded, understanding her fear. Together, they made their way to the back door after Chike grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer. The night was eerily silent as they stepped outside, the cool air sending shivers down her spine. They walked cautiously through the garden, the beam of the flashlight cutting through the darkness. The shadows seemed to dance around them, and every rustle of leaf made Ada jump. Chike held her hand, offering a sense of security amidst the growing tension. As they approached the spot where Ada had seen the figure, Chike's flashlight flickered, casting an unsettling glow on the surroundings. Suddenly, they heard a faint whisper, almost like a distant echo. Ada's heart raced, and she clung to Chike, her eyes scanning the darkness. "Who is there?" There was no response, only the sound of the wind rustling through the trees. Ada was bored one day and decided to take a walk in the garden. The house had a vast amount of land. Deep into the garden, she tripped on something and fell face down. Sitting up, she saw something sticking out of the ground. She reached out to pull it out, only to realize it was a human foot. Ada's heart raced as she stumbled backward, her mind struggling to process what she had just discovered. The garden now felt eerie. She quickly glanced around to see if Chike was close. Gathering her courage, Ada took a deep breath and approached the foot again. She carefully brushed away the dirt, revealing more of the body buried underneath. It was clear that this was a recent burial. The remains were still fresh, though starting to decay. Ada's mind raced with questions. Who was this person? How did she end up here? She knew she had to uncover the secret behind Chike, the man she fell helplessly in love with, without knowing who he was, and given his recent strange behavior and the fact he denied being in the garden that night. The next day at breakfast, Ada was tense and hadn't said a word to Chike since discovering the shallow grave. Chike noticed her unease and asked, "What's the matter, Ada?" She forced a smile and replied, "I'm fine, really." But Chike could see through her facade. After breakfast, Ada excused herself, saying she needed to go into town to see her friend Boomie. Chike watched her leave, worry written all over his face. Ada arrived at Boomie's house, her mind racing with the events of the previous day. She recounted the discovery of the shallow grave, her voice trembling. "It really spooked me, Boomie. I don't know what to do." Boomie listened intently, her expression serious. "Ada, you need to leave and call the police. This is serious." But the journalist in Ada was determined to uncover the truth. "I can't just walk away, Boomie. There's a story here, and I need to find out what happened. I need your help." Boomie sighed, knowing how stubborn Ada could be. "All right, what do you need me to do?" Ada pulled out her phone and showed Boomie a picture of the body. "I need you to find out who she is. Maybe there's something in the archives or old records that can give us a clue." Boomie nodded as she took the phone. "I'll see what I can find, but promise me you'll be careful." "I will," Ada assured. "Thank you, Boomie." Back at home, Ada felt a mix of fear and determination. She knew she was treading dangerous waters, but she couldn't shake the feeling that this discovery was connected to Chike's past. She spent the rest of the day poring over old documents and photographs, trying to piece together the puzzle. Later that evening, Boomie called with some information. "Ada, I found something. The woman in the picture was named Elle. She disappeared months ago under mysterious circumstances. There's a lot of speculation, but no one knows what really happened to her." Ada's heart raced. "Ebele, that name sounds familiar. I think I've seen it in some of Chike's journals." "Be careful, Ada," Boomie warned. "This could be bigger than we think." "I will," Ada promised. "Thank you, Boomie." As Ada hung up the phone, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. She was determined to uncover the truth, no matter where it led. She knew she had to confront Chike, but she needed more information first. With Boomie's help, she would dig deeper into the mystery of Ebele and the secrets buried in the garden. The next 2 days were very quiet. Ada said very little to Chike, fearing she might spill her findings. Chike noticed her unease and seemed on edge himself, as if driven by some unseen urgency. When Chike left for his business that day, Ada seized the opportunity. She used the key she had copied when Chike wasn't paying attention to unlock his study. Chike had always told her his study was private and out of bounds, but Ada was determined to find any clue that could piece the puzzle together. She searched through his files and papers, her heart pounding with each discovery. She found a particular file on his computer, but it was password protected. Ada tried several passwords, but none of them worked. Frustrated, she stood up and moved towards the shelf on the other side of the room. As she stepped, the floor creaked loudly, startling her. She stopped, bent down, and pulled up the carpet. To her surprise, she found a door with a padlock on it. Ada's curiosity intensified. She searched the study for a key to the padlock, checking drawers, shelves, and even behind picture frames. Finally, she found a small ornate key hidden inside a book on the shelf. With trembling hands, she unlocked the padlock and opened the door. The door revealed a narrow staircase leading down to a dimly lit basement. Ada hesitated for a moment, then descended the stairs, her heart pounding in her chest. There was a stench that almost made her throw up. There was another door by the corner. Ada turned the knob. To her relief, it was unlocked. She stepped in. The smell was even stronger. To her shock, there was a body. Scared to the bones, she covered her nose with her hand. This was more than she could handle. She needed to call in the authorities. She climbed back up the stairs, tears running down her face. Who is Chike? He was clearly not who he claimed to be. She lifted her head, only to find Chike staring down at her. Ada's breath caught in her throat as she faced Chike. His eyes were cold and his expression unreadable. She took a step back down, her mind racing for a way out. I told you my study was private. Why couldn't you just mind your business? I didn't mean to, Ada stammered, her voice trembling. I just thought I heard something. Chike's lips coiled into a sinister smile. Curiosity killed the cat, Ada, but satisfaction wouldn't bring it back. Ada's heart pounded even harder. She needed to think fast. Please, Chike, let me go. I won't tell anyone, I swear. Chike took a step closer, his gaze never leaving hers. It's too late for that, Ada. You've seen too much. Ada's head throbbed as she slowly regained consciousness. The dim light cast eerie shadows on the walls. The body was gone, but the stench remained and was almost unbearable. She tried to move, but her wrists and ankles were bound tightly with a rope. Panic surged through her as she realized she was back in the basement. She looked around, her eyes landing on the wooden table and the basket underneath it. To her shock, the basket contained the artifacts, identical to the one she had thrown into the Atlantic. The realization hit her. Chike had lied about the supernatural powers of the artifact. He had simply replaced it. Chike, she whispered, what have you done? The door at the top of the stairs creaked open. Chike's silhouette appeared. He descended the stairs slowly, a sinister smile on his face. Ah, Ada, you're awake. I was beginning to worry. Ada's fear turned into a burning resolve. You lied about everything, she spat. The artifacts, the body, everything. Chike laughed, his eyes cold. You were always too curious for your own good. Now you know too much. Ada struggled against her bonds, but they were too tight. You won't get away with this, she said. Chike knelt down beside her, his face inches from hers. Oh, but I already have. And once again, your nosy friend Boomie is coming to join you. At the mention of Boomie's name, Ada started to scream, but Chike quickly put a tape over her mouth and walked away. An hour later, Chike returned, carrying Boomie slung over his shoulder, unconscious. He dropped her unceremoniously on the floor beside Ada. I've tied up my loose ends. No one will ever know, and I can go on having fun. Ada let out a whimper, horrified by the realization that Chike found joy in his evil deeds. She needed to buy time. Why, Chike? She tried to speak, but the tape over her mouth was restraining her words. Chike's eyes gleamed with a dark satisfaction. He removed the tape from Ada's mouth. Any questions? He asked mockingly. Why? Ada repeated. Chike began to speak. I am a good Samaritan. I want to rid the world of loose women. My wife cheated on me with my best friend. And oh, I took care of him too. I charm women. Anyone who falls for it is loose. You are a loose woman, Ada, and I'm going to clean you up like a bad mess. My stepdaughter was an afterthought. She knew too much. You are sick, Chike. You need help. As he was about to speak, the sound of police sirens suddenly pierced the air. Chike's expression changed from smug to panic. Apparently, Boomie had informed the police before coming to confront Chike. The sirens grew louder, and Chike knew his time was up. Desperate, he grabbed Ada, using her as a shield, and hoping to get out into the garden through the door in his study. Stay back, he shouted as the police stormed in. The officers moved in with precision, and in the chaos, Chike was overpowered. Ada was pulled to safety and Chike was finally arrested. Ada and Boomie were taken to the hospital where they were treated for their injuries. As Ada lay in her hospital bed, she felt a sense of relief wash over her. The world will finally learn the truth about all those missing women and the house on 21st Street. Chike's reign of terror was over and justice would be served. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the story. And if you enjoy such stories, let me know as well. You can also share the story with anyone you think would enjoy it. Leave us a like